Hello and welcome to the Cottage Notebook podcast. I'm your host Nadia, and if you like your craft podcast with a little bit of gardening and creativity on the side, then this podcast is for you. Coming up on today's show is a relaxed chat with the very talented and fun Grace from Babbles Travelling Yarns podcast. So make yourself comfortable, grab that project, make that cuppa and enjoy some time for you. Hello and welcome to the show. Season 2 of the podcast is partly sponsored by the wonderful Ellie and Ada. Ellie and Ada produce artisan yarns and products for your maker life. You can find out more from Laura over on ellieandada.com. Now, if you're a new listener to the show, come on in, have a nosy around the blog, Ravelry and social media. And if you want to get to know us a little bit better or take part in any of our challenges or creative discussions, then pop over to our Facebook group, which can be found on the Cottage Notebook Facebook page. For returning listeners, it's lovely to have you all back again. Have you finished that shawl? Are you joining in with our Cal? If you happen to remember to pop over to the Ravelry or Facebook groups to share all of your projects so that you can inspire others to try the yarn that you loved or the pattern that you just have to cast on right away. If you do have the time and you like the show, I would love it if you could pop over to iTunes and leave a review so that you could help this podcast reach even more craft-loving people. And if you like it, please share the podcast on whatever social media you use and let us know what you think. So today there is a little bit of a housekeeping before we get into the interview with Grace, and that is all news from Woolen. So if you are coming to Ireland's first or Dublin's first yarn festival, I have to say, then there is a Woolen Cal which is happening over on the Ravelry group, and that is facilitated by Diane of the Dublin Knit Collective, the wonderful Emer of Inkton Crafty, who is the mods on the Ravelry boards, and myself. And all you have to do, it's an incredibly inclusive Cal, all you have to do is commit to making something designed by a Woolen special guest and or using a product from one of the Woolen vendors. Then post your progress and FO pics in the dedicated Woolen Cal thread on Ravelry, and of course there will be lots of banter and stuff already happening over on the Ravelry group, and there might be some motivational spot prizes too, so do pop over and have a look at what people are already chatting about. The other thing, which I don't know if a lot of you have been following the news page on Woolen, is that Woolen have a fantastic prize to give away from the Woolen sponsors. If you have bought an admission ticket to Woolen before Monday the 30th of April, you will be automatically entered into the draw. And if you already have purchased an advanced ticket to Woolen, you will also be put in the prize draw. The fabulous giveaway is kindly sponsored by Studio Donegal, the fibre company, and This Is Knit. The lucky winner of the gorgeous prize pack will be getting 2 skeins of the fibre company Arcadia yarn, 3 skeins of the Donegal wool spinning company yarn, a fabulous woolen needle gauge tool which has yet to be released, and a beautiful woolen enamel pin. I cannot speak today. All you have to do to enter is purchase your entry to Woolen, either with a workshop or a standalone ticket before Monday the 30th of April. And it really is a fabulous prize, guys, so do pop over to the Woolen site to have a look at the yarn and the needle gauge. And I have to say, the woolen enamel pins are fairly snazzy. And this brings me swiftly to the final piece of Woolen news. Well, not actually, almost final piece of Woolen news. If you are over on Instagram, or you have been checking that out or following Woolen, you will have noticed a live by the wonderful Lisa and Jenny, and they announced something really special for Saturday night, so do pop over and have a look at the Woolen Instagram page. There is a fabulous Saturday night event which is taking place in Alsa on the Saturday, so do pop over and have a read of more information about that. And this is really the final piece of information about Woolen, is that this week we announced the Yarn in Ireland panel, and this is a free panel which is taking place during Woolen on Saturday at 11 o'clock, and in the panel we have the wonderful Adele McBride and Carol Feller, who are both Irish independent knitwear designers. We have master wheelwright Johnny Shields, who makes those gorgeous spinning wheels in Donegal, and we have the only Irish hand dyer to produce 100% hand dyed Irish wool from sheep to skein, Diarmuid Cummings. You can come and join us for this panel. All you have to do is reserve your place over on Woolen. It's completely free, but we're just trying to get an idea of a head count. So you can do that on the Woolen ticket page, as well as when you're there, you can have a little read of each of the bios of each of the people who will be on the panel. We will be opening the floor to a Q&A session at the end, so do have some questions ready to put forward to special guests. It's really rare that we have all 4 people together in one place, especially because they're all from different ends of the country, so this is really, really special event. I will be presenting the panel, and I'm really excited and equally nervous about it because I don't really do that many live events. So, lots of support on the day would be appreciated. This brings us very swiftly into today's interview, which is with the wonderful Grace from Babbles Travelling Yarns podcast. She is the host and also hand dyer of Babbles Yarns, and she has some wonderful things to share with us today. We get to touch on her new position as the PRO for the Irish Guild of Weavers, Spinners and Dyers. We get a little look at Grace's retreat and her open day, which also the wonderful Diarmuid Cummings, who's on the Irish panel, is going to pop over and have a little bit of a talk for her open day, so do keep your ears open for more information on that. And there is some chat about what's coming up with Woolen as well. So I'm going to leave you with the fabulous Grace O'Neill. Hello, Grace, and welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Nadia. I'm great today. I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for having me on.
And for those of you who have just joined us today, Grace O'Neill is joining us from Babbles Travelling Yarns podcast. So, Grace, can you tell us a little bit about your podcast and when you started?
So, I started my podcast a little bit on a whim. So, I only started knitting. It was a Christmas Eve cast on that I started on a plane to Singapore when I was just leaving to travel the world. I decided, you know what, I'm going to start knitting. I've got a lot of flights ahead of me. I got a lot of buses ahead of me. I've got nothing but time and itchy fingers. So I started knitting, and I'd been crocheting a bit before that. So I traveled all around, and I started actually doing this thing where I would stop into yarn shops everywhere I went. Now, finding yarn shops in Singapore, in Bangkok, in Thailand, in all of these different places, they're not particularly yarny cultures. There's a lot of cotton, a lot of acrylic, but I managed to find a lot of different things and different places, and I managed to find different parts of cities that were not normally on the tourist route. So then when I finally ended up in Australia, I'd been watching knitting podcasts for a long time, and one of the ones that I watched all the time was Mina from the Knitting Expat podcast, and she was traveling as well in hot countries. And I was like, this is really interesting. I think people would find my journeys kind of interesting as well. So I sat down in my brother's house in Perth in Australia one day with a crowd, with all of my little stash, which was about 10 skeins from all the 10 countries that I'd been to. And I did my first podcast, but I didn't put it up. I didn't put it up for weeks and weeks and weeks. I was terrified of, the thing I was really terrified about was mean comments on YouTube. And after 2 years of being on YouTube, putting up over, I think I've over 100 videos now between vlogs and podcasts, I have never once got a mean YouTube comment. So I don't know what I was worried about. But I do have to thank another few podcasters who I reached out to ask for advice before I started, who are the Bakery Bears and Marcia from Fairy Little podcast. They were really the ones that said, just do it, Grace, just do it. And I've never looked back, and I'm so delighted I did.
It's such a lovely, lovely community as well, I think. And people do tend to follow you from platform to platform as well, which I really, really like. And in 2017, you launched Babbles Yarns as well. You started hand dyeing. How's that going?
Yes, I started hand dyeing when I finally stopped traveling. So when I could finally get stuff shipped to me in bulk. I arrived home and I managed to get a kitchen all to myself. And no one would be annoyed by me filling the kitchen full of yarn and dye and water and messing everything up. And I could clean it away myself. And I decided again on a whim, do you know what? I'm just going to put it on Etsy. So I opened up Etsy and I was like, well, I've got all this yarn that I've dyed. What am I going to do? Is this a terrible idea? I didn't ask anybody. I just put it up. And then I announced it. And I think I only put up 10 skeins to start. And I announced it on Instagram and they were all gone within 2 hours. I nearly died. I was so excited. So I do have a full-time job now that I'm back in Ireland. So I do find it hard to find time to dye in between coming home and the weekends and weekend shifts and then moving up and down and attending loads of fibery fun events in Ireland that I've discovered. But I do manage to put out maybe one update every 2 months, which is quite an achievement, if I do say so myself. But yeah, it's going really well so far. Yeah, I love it. It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, but I think starting a business always is. Yeah.
You started in 2017 and you've already been featured in quite a few places, one of which being Olin Ads.
Oh yes, that was so exciting. When the girls reached out to me, I nearly died. They were so lovely. They said they'd love to get their hands on a skein just to review. They are just the nicest women, aren't they? Like, I think the community in Ireland is quite close and lovely. You know, they're so supportive of everyone that's doing anything with fibre. I was really lucky to have a lot of that going on.
And from Babbles Travelling Yarns, is that how you got started with the Limerick spinning group that you're part of?
Well, that's another story. I have a lot of stories for you. So I came home from Australia, and when I was in Sydney, I had joined the Knitters Guild, and I had joined the New South Wales Handweavers, Spinners and Dyers Guild. When I came home, I was looking up for a knitters guild or knitting groups or anything like that, and there wasn't really a knitting guild. There was the Irish Guild of Weavers, Spinners and Dyers, but that wasn't particularly what I was looking at that time. I decided at home, I was like, I'm going to set it up. So I used to always travel around into a new city, get to know a new city by going on meetup.com. So I went on meetup.com and I started my own knitting group in the evenings on Wednesdays, alternating Wednesdays and Thursdays. And there was this woman and she sent me a message and she goes, do you mind if I bring my spinning wheel? That was Liz, lovely Liz O'Connor. She is so lovely. So she rocked up with her spinning wheel and I was absolutely amazed. I had actually trucked my spinning wheel back from Australia. A lovely viewer of the podcast I met up with her in Australia and she gave me her spinning wheel and I learned how to spin because she gave me her spinning wheel, and someone gave me a bag of pure fine merino fleece just for no reason whatsoever. So, as they do, when someone learns you spin, they're like, oh, I have fleece, take it. And you're like, oh God. And then suddenly you end up with about 15 bags of it in your shed. That's how it works. So yeah, the little, the knitting group has now turned into the Limerick Knit and Spin. And it's on Meetup and it's on Facebook as well. And it's going from strength to strength. There's some lovely people that join. And we just had a group last night, actually. It was lovely.
And for those of you who didn't see my tweets or anything, Grace has taken over as the PRO officer for the Irish Guild of Weavers, Spinners and Dyers this year. And she's already off to an amazing start. So would you mind if we have a little chat about the guild? Is that okay?
Not at all, Nadia, not at all. No.
So how did you get involved with the guild and all that?
So it was Liz. It's always
Liz.
Never anything to do with spinning, it's always Liz. I hope she doesn't mind me dropping her name all the time because she's so funny. She's the driver to all the events. So she'll text me and she goes, Grace, there's this happening. Are you free? Do you want to come up to Dublin with me? Do you want to come here? Do you want to come there? And I think for the first thing I really got involved with the Guild was the Ravelry group and the Tour de Fleece that she ran in 2017, the Tour de Fleece Irish team. That was so exciting. I was in a team and it was my country. I was so proud. But and then there was a couple of events that I went up to. I went to the knitting and stitching show and I demonstrated there. That was really, really exciting. And I really got to meet people there and I loved demonstrating and talking about spinning and getting a go on the new little wheel that they have, the Victoria Luette, is it? Yeah, it's absolutely lovely, that little thing. Yeah. So they've got a lot of things to rent, and that's when I found out about there was a rigid heddle weaving class and I was so interested in that. So I signed up immediately, I think. I went online and I signed up. I was like, yes. And I went up to the Constant Knitter. I got the bus up from Limerick at 6 o'clock in the morning, went up. I started at 10. I wove a scarf from start to finish in one day. It was amazing. And I ended up taking home a rigid heddle loom. And I think everyone on the podcast, if anyone watches the podcast, I think I'm responsible for a very significant spike in loom, either buying or renting. I've had so many people contact me about it. It's fantastic. I'm so excited about it. I am in love with weaving now. It's my new obsession.
Moira?
Yes, Moira Nocton. Yeah. She did the class on the looms. The Guild has actually bought 6 10-inch rigid heddle sample at looms, and they can be rented either individually or as a whole bunch to give a class. And I'm half thinking about that later on.
They are amazing. I love them myself. It was also the Guild's fault that I bought a 32-inch rigid heddle. So warning, it's infectious and it takes over.
I did end up buying a 16-inch. I didn't go crazy. I was like, no, I want to be able to sit it on my lap if I'm in front of the television. That's how I work. I work comfy.
So which takes precedence for you now at the moment? Which is it knitting? Is it weaving? Is it dyeing?
It depends what I'm feeling or what the pressure is on for. So at the moment, I think it's knitting because I've got a long-term project which someone, namely my partner, will not let me get out of. It's a Fair Isle design from Simply Shetland. It's the Nahanni River vest. It's crazy. There's so much involved. So I'm doing at least a row on that a night, which takes an hour and a half. It's 300 stitches. This thing is huge. But and also I'm working a lot at the moment, so I just bring in my knitting. It's very portable. It's handy. But if I'm sitting at home and if the loom is warped, I will weave. If I see it and it's warped in front of me, I will weave it. I haven't spun in a while. I need to get back in spinning, but I think I've got a lot of dyeing to do for woolen that's coming up. So any spare time I have, I am dyeing as well as doing all the rest of it. I think I'm going to start spinning again for the next Tour de Fleece. That's probably reasonable.
I'm going to ask you the one question I get asked constantly, and that is, where do you get your weaving yarn from?
My weaving yarn is my knitting yarn, as is it. I also use my hand spun as well for my weaving. I think because I don't really know what I'm doing, I'll use anything, and I think that's fine. Yeah.
And you were mentioning about the Guild having equipment and stuff to rent. Can you tell us a little bit more about how people can do that and what's available?
So we have a rental coordinator as part of the committee, and you can get through to the rental coordinator on the website. So the website is weavespindye.ie, and there's a section called equipment rental. You do have to be a member to rent the equipment, and the membership for the whole year costs €20. You pay by PayPal. Super easy. I did it in 10 seconds. And at the moment, we have a Ashford 4 shaft a table loom, which comes with all the bells and whistles. It comes with warping frame and the boat shuttle, bobbins and bobbin winder. They have the whole thing. It's a lovely piece. I think it's in Galway at the moment. And then there are the 6 Ashford samplet looms, which are, I think there's 3. I think they're mostly in the West at the moment. So, but yeah, it's good to have. And then there's 2 spinning wheels, the Ashford Kiwi double treadle wheel or a Luette Victoria wheel. The Luette Victoria is quite small. It's very neat for people who are travelling. It folds up. Oh, it's very nice to spin on as well. It's really nice. And both wheels come with all the accoutrements. It comes with a lazy Kate and the spare bobbins. And I currently have the Ashford drum carder, which I'm really excited about because I'm trying to work through those fleeces. And it's the device that is the most requested and the most used. It's fabulous. So for rentals and things like that, there is security deposits that has to be paid, and then you get refunded those. And then per month, the table loom, the 4-shaft table loom is about €25, and the Ashford samplets are €10 each. The Kiwi is 15, the spinning wheel is €15 per month. The Luette is 25, and the drum carder is €15. A lot of people use the rental scheme as kind of a try before you buy scheme. So to find out really what you like, as opposed to investing a huge lump of money, it's way more practical to, pay a certain amount of money and try it and see if you like it. And if you don't, hand it back. You haven't got to sell on the whole lot again and pay for postage and the whole lot. So it's really a brilliant, I've been banging on about it on the podcast. I'm like, have you got a guild near you? You've got to try it, because people are like, I want to save up for a loom, but it's so much money. So it's really a fantastic scheme. And we are hoping to invest in a couple more things for the year, maybe another spinning wheel, a different type of spinning wheel, so people can try different types, see what suits them. It's a fantastic service. I'm delighted that we have something like that in Ireland. It's great.
I think the support both at the meets and online is actually very good. So a lot of people are scared of when they do bring equipment home and they're like, what do I do with it? Whereas Liz, that we keep mentioning, is wonderful when it comes to spinning wheels. I don't think there's anything that she doesn't know.
She's the spinning wheel expert. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's so much, she does little videos and she puts them up on the Facebook page, on the guild. There's all this support at the meetups that happen. There's monthly meetups in Dublin, the Constant Knitter, and there's also meetups in Ennis, in Glore, monthly as well. So there's loads of spaces for people to come along and ask questions about the guild, see what it's all about. And a lot of the things are actually available at those places to rent right there, then and there, or we can organise to get it to you another way. I think the email for, if anyone is interested, the email is rental@weavespindye.ie to get more information about that. But like you said, the support is incredible. We have Ravelry, the Facebook page is brilliant, and the website emailing is really, really effective as well because you get straight to us.
And if people want to come and see you in person and maybe have a chat to you about anything else more in depth, ask any questions, what events are you guys attending this year?
Well, we have lots. We have a load of events that are happening in the next 2 months, actually. So the first one that's coming up is the Alpaca Show run by the Alpaca Association of Ireland, and that's going to be held in Mullingar. That is going to be a big event. They're going to be doing some shearing demonstrations. There's going to be junior handling. It's going to be a great day for the whole family, I think. And we're going to have a stand there. We're going to be demonstrating weaving and spinning and whatever else we can, really. We're going to be talking about it. That's going to be brilliant. We are looking for some volunteers as well, if anyone is interested, for the next couple of events that we're doing. So the first one is the Alpaca Show, and that's on the 22nd of April in Mullingar. Then we've got a huge event coming up. It's going to be an airfield in Dundrum. It's called Woolapalooza. And it's happening on May, the bank holiday weekend, 6th and 7th of May. And that is going to be huge. Hopefully we're going to have demonstrations. We might be having talks. There's going to be possibility of people showing how to dye with natural dyes. There's going to be spinning wheels there. All of the guild equipment is probably going to be there set up so you can have a go, have a chat, ask more questions. And of course, the opportunities to sign up as well to newsletters or to become a member there as well. And then there's a lot going on in May, actually. That's the bank holiday weekend, the 6th and 7th. That's Woolapalooza. And then we have Woolen, of course. So Woolen is our premier yarn event. It's the first yarn festival being held in the Republic of Ireland, and that is going to run from the 24th, 25th and 26th of May, and that's going to be held in the Alsa Sports Centre just by Dublin Airport, and we are going to have a stand there as well, quite like what we have at the Knitting and Stitching show every year. So we're really excited about that event because it's being run by our own. It's lovely. So yeah, we're going to have all of our equipment there. Going to be demonstrations, spinning, weaving, not so much dyeing because we don't have so much space as in Woolapalooza, but there's going to be lots going on there as well. I'm really excited about that. And then possibly in July, there's going to be Maker Dublin on the 21st of July, which is fantastic.
I love that event.
Oh, I missed it last year. I couldn't go last year. I'm kicking myself because everyone said it was amazing. Everyone said it was absolutely fabulous. I'm really excited to go this year. I've booked it off. I've got to go.
Their website is hilarious.
Really?
It's the one I always recommend when people go, what about an event website? I go, have a look at Maker Dublin because those guys are hilarious. It's just brilliant.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
There's a load happening. I'm so excited. Yeah.
So Woolen's going to be busy because Babbles Yarns is coming there. You're coming there
yes.
as both Babbles Yarns and the Guild. And are you coming as a podcaster as well?
I think so. Yes, I think I am. I don't know how I'm going to fit all this in. Sure, I'll be around. I'll probably be loud enough anyway. They'll all come to me, surely. They'll know where to find me. Yeah, if I get someone to come along and mind the stand, I'll wander in and be like, hi guys. Here's me, grey, looking at me. I'll have this smile painted on, I'd say. No, I'll be grand. I'm so excited. I'm a bit nervous, but I think I'm excited too. And
are you bringing anything special just for Woolen? Because I've seen your enamel pins, which are amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, the enamel pins are coming. Definitely. They were supposed to arrive for Edinburgh Yarn Festival and they didn't, and I'm furious. So now they're the Woolen special. Yeah, I'm going to be bringing a lot of my summer yarns, actually. I've got my cotton socks blend, which are Bless Your Cotton Socks. And that is a 50% merino, 25% cotton and 25% nylon. It's really lovely, actually. I've had a lot of people from Australia and Singapore and South Africa actually purchase it, and from the south of the United States, and they say it's great for socks because they're quite, it's not as woolly, it's not as heavy, and it's lovely for garments as well and shawls because it's quite drapey and kind of heavy. It's nice, but the wool kind of keeps it up. So that's lovely. I really like that. And I've also got a bamboo blend, which I love so much.
I love bamboo.
I know. I think it's a 75-25 base. So 75 wool, 25 bamboo, but it's got this stunning sheen and the dye just soaks into it. Oh, it's just lovely. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. And I've got my first DK weights coming up as well, which are dyeing up so pretty at the moment. So I'm just bringing everything that I've got. It's going to be there.
And is this your first show?
Yes, my first yarn show.
Everyone, go see Grace. Show some support to Grace.
I'm excited. Yeah, it's going to be lovely to be there with everyone else as well, with like all of my friends who I've found through the yarny world who are also going to be vending and just being there. Oh, it's just going to be the best.
I have to say the vendors for Woolen are just the nicest people. It's the nicest group of people.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that definitely. Yeah.
Even helping each other getting yarn to the event.
Yeah. A lot of assistance, people who are here in Ireland already helping with getting stuff shipped to us so we can bring it to the event and things like that. It's just really lovely, really supportive. It's going to be so nice.
I have a feel-good vibe for Woolen.
Yes.
Feel-good vibe. Grace, for anyone else who is interested in setting up their own group or becoming part of the guild, which I always think is a great idea because people can sometimes feel isolated in different parts of the country and they think if they're really far from Dublin that they can't be part of the guild, which is actually not true. So tell us what the advantages of being part of the guild and how to go about setting up your own group in your area.
So we actually went through this exact situation with the Ennis Guild. So the Midwest Spinners, they call themselves, I believe, the Midwest chapter. And they started actually after the International Spin in Public Day. So we organised that kind of event was organised in Glore in the Arts Centre there. And it was so much fun that we decided to do it every month. So we've been meeting monthly there. And then the idea was put for, I actually asked around, I was like, oh, are you part of the guild? Because I was at that stage and I'd been to a few events and I loved it. And they were like, yeah, we're really interested in becoming a chapter. I wonder how we do that. So we all rocked up at the AGM and suddenly we're all on the committee and we're all part of it. So, well, really the main benefit of being part of the guild is that you're part of the oldest traditional guild in Ireland. You're maintaining Ireland's fibre history by being part of the guild and being able to shape its future, shape, where it's going to go and what we're doing, The guild was formed to preserve the ideas of these traditional crafts, to improve and promote what we're doing, all these artists that are coming together, and any events that are happening, we try and promote them, we advertise them. We can also support funding for events as well. If people are interested in holding classes or courses or things like that, we can help with that. There's a lot of expertise on the Guild Committee, and throughout history we've tried to do our best to promote expertise. That's the whole thing, being part of a guild. You want to make educate and just try to put forward the benefit of all of these skills. And we're actually hoping to have a couple of people go forwards for a certificate in hand weaving. So that's really interesting. We're hoping to do that this year. I can't remember the exact name of it.
We can pop it in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll pop it in the show notes, but it's a really interesting thing. It's being run in the UK, but we're hoping to get a chapter of the guild that are doing it, maybe 5 to 8 people who are doing it, and then who could also educate people who want to do it after that. They could become mentors for them afterwards. So I really want to do it, but I'm also doing another master's, so I just can't. I've got so much to do. But that's really what the guild is all about. It's about promoting these skills that we absolutely love and to keep them going and to bring it to more people, because if we love it, surely everyone else should.
And if you want to, it's just completely true.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. If you want to, or are you thinking of setting up one in your own area, the contact email for that would be?
So if you're interested in contacting the guild, if you want to set up anything in your area, the best email to contact is hello@weavespindye.ie, and that's the general email, and we will be able to help you with hopefully anything that you have issues with, or if you want us to do anything for you, we will be here for you.
And if you want to promote your guild, you will of course be talking to the lovely Grace.
Yes.
All this year, and you can contact her directly at pro@weavespindye.ie, and you will have this wonderful friendly service.
That's me.
So don't be shy and don't be afraid, and do get in touch with Grace.
Yeah, I'm here to help, and I really, really do want to help anyone that needs to promote or advertise anything that's happening, because I want to know and I want to tell everyone else.
Exactly. And just to finish up, I have to ask you the question I ask everyone. What is in the future for Grace with both the podcast and your yarns, and where can we find you online so we can follow you more?
So you can find me as Vanna Willamille on Instagram. That will be in the show notes because it's difficult to spell. You can also find my yarn business as @Babbles Yarns on Instagram. I have the podcast, which is on YouTube, which is Babbles Travelling Yarns. If you search that should pop up for you. And I'm also, my website for something that's happening and hopefully is going to happen a lot more regularly is the www.babblestravellingyarns.com. So that is where you'll find all the information about my podcast, the shop, and also some retreats that I'm organising in the new year.
Oh, this is so exciting. I was going to say this is really exciting because the What's in the Future for Grace is actually a super special retreat, which she's going to tell us a little bit more about now.
So yeah, I actually started going to the Atlantic Knitscape retreats, which is where I got the idea and the support from. And so Atlantic Knitscape is a retreat that happens up in County Mayo, out by Westport, and it's quite far away. It's beautiful, stunning, it's gorgeous, but it's quite far away. And I was really interested. I was like, I wish I had something a bit closer. I'm also going to the Atlantic Knitscapes all the time. So yeah. So I decided to host a tiny little retreat, very tiny. There's only 10 spaces on it, and they sold out immediately. It's going to be taking place at Ballyglass House Hotel in Ballyglass Country House, sorry, at in the Glen of Aherlow, just outside Tipperary town. And Tipperary is kind of it's gorgeous. It's so beautiful. It's my family's home. Both my father and my mother are both from Tipperary, even though I'm a Limerick lady. So they're super supportive. I heard about this particular house from my aunt, who's, it's all very who you know, how I found out about this and how it came together. It was lovely, very organic, very Irish. And so I contacted the hotel and they said, yeah, it's yours. You can have it for the weekend. If you can fill it, you can have it. So the event is filled. This one, hopefully I'm going to have a few more in the future, but we are going to have an open day. So the open day is on the 21st of April. It is a Saturday from 11 until late. We're going to have a little marketplace with a few small select dyers, a bag maker, a very good friend of mine from Limerick. She's an amazing sewist. And my own yarns are going to be there. We're also going to have Bernie from Bear and Sheep's Clothing. She's going to be down. She's going to be selling her yarns. And we are also having Your Wool, Margarita, who's going to be coming up from Cork. She is lovely. Yarns. She's so nice. She came to the Cork Guild, and that's how I met her. Or not the Cork Guild, the Ennis meetup. She's so wonderful. She's originally a spinner first, then a knitter, then a dyer. It's really interesting. So she's going to be there. It's going to be so much fun. I've also got a few patterns from my friend Anna Freiberg from Sweden. So she's given me a few of her patterns as well to sell at the event. And there's going to be some of her patterns in the goodie bag that I'm giving out too. So there's a lot going on, but the most exciting thing for me is Diarmuid Cummins is going to be there from S-Twist. So he is going to give a talk at about 2 p.m. in the Forge Bar in Ballyglass House. And I'm so excited to buy him a pint because that man, I just need to know how he's doing it. He, as far as I'm aware, he's the only person that is producing 100% Irish wool from the sheeps in the Tipperary Mountains, which I've grown up climbing. I have petted those lambs in this wool. I need to know more. I'm so excited. So it's going to be a super fun event. It's going to be really relaxed and chilled with lots of yarny goodness. And I'm also going to have my spinning wheel set up and my rigid head loom there, warped up, ready for people to have a little go and see if they like it. And more details about the guild there if you're interested. I'll be there to answer any questions. So yeah, it's an open event. It is free to come along. Bring your pennies because you'll want to spend your money because it's got so much gorgeous yarn there and so much gorgeous things. And
Diarmuid doesn't actually do that many talks at all. And if you do manage to get to listen to this man, do, because he is just a wealth of information.
He's so lovely. He was so lovely on the phone. He's a Tipperary man himself, so I think it's quite close and dear to his heart, And the Glen of Aherlow is just such an underestimated, beautiful place. I think that it's normally kind of a walking destination, so you have the mountains and the hills, and it's just gorgeous. I just hope the weather plays ball, but even if it doesn't, we're knitters and there's a pub and a fire. Let's be grand.
If you close your eyes and think of Ireland on a postcard, that's it.
That's it.
It's just
cottages everywhere.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on the show, Grace. It's lovely to have you here, and hopefully you'll come back soon.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Because I will be doing some super secret things that will be happening at Woolen. So there's no hiding from me. But I will thank you so much for coming on the show, and hopefully we'll get to chat soon.
Great. Listen, thank you so much, Nadia. It's been a pleasure.
Hello and welcome back, and I really hope that you enjoyed today's podcast as much as I did recording it. We really did have a blast. If you want to get in contact with Grace, you can pop over to the show notes on cottagenotebook.ie, and all of the links to Grace's social media, her retreat, and anything that we mentioned in today's podcast will be there. You can also find Grace on all of the social medias, and like all woolen vendors, you can also find links to Grace from woolen.com and in the marketplace as well. So I'm going to leave you this week. I will be back next week with more, I'm going to say more gardening focused fun for now, and I'm going to leave you guessing. Do keep an eye on the blog this week for more information going live on all fun things. It's getting very exciting now. There's lots of news being released on lots of projects all going live, so do keep an eye on the blog. Thank you so much for listening and for joining us on the show. I'm your host Nadia. Grow, craft, love. Bye bye.